Addicted to a mobile phone, I accidentally entered the men's toilet, and when I looked up and looked at the school bully, who had just finished my work. I was about to explain, but I clicked and touched the camera by mistake. The school bully's eyes narrowed dangerously. You're pretty good at timing your photos. Don't indulge in playing with your phone when you're on the road, otherwise it will become as unfortunate as me. I just looked at my phone and was too fascinated, and I was going to go to the toilet while repairing the picture, but I accidentally walked into the men's toilet and didn't know it. As soon as I looked up, I made eye contact with Warner Croft, the freshly finished school bully. I froze for half a second before he turned sideways just in time. I quickly lowered my head. I'm sorry. At this time, my finger touched the camera by mistake, and the sound of taking pictures clicked loudly, crisp and neat. Silence is Cambridge tonight. You're pretty good at timing your photos. His domineering eyes narrowed, and his eyes were extremely dangerous, and it's quite exquisite. I know to say sorry before shooting. I know Warner Croft all too well. He was a well-known school bully in my high school. No one dared to mess with him. Although he was a sports student, his family background was strong, and the director of education turned a blind eye to him. Now he is also a big man of the year. I would never dare to provoke me. Thinking of this, I quickly pressed and deleted. Don't worry, I didn't shoot the key place, so I'll delete it. Hearing this, Warner Croft swept in with a sharp eye. What? You still want to shoot key places? No, you really misunderstood. I swear I accidentally made a mistake, and I accidentally pressed to take a photo. Sorry, I didn't have time to run out of the toilet before I could say that. I saw a large wave of boys rushing to the toilet. Hurry up, let's hide quickly. It's too late to explain to you. I pulled Warner Croft into the innermost cubicle before the men could enter. The moment the door closes, that's when the boys come in. I breathed a sigh of relief and looked up to meet his eyes. I whispered, "Classmate, I'm sure you don't want others to spread about us." His thin lips twitched slightly. Are you threatening me? I suddenly felt like I was dying. No, it's because you. However, at this moment, the sound of water sounded one after another outside the cubicle, as well as the boys' mutual damage and ridicule. The roots of my ears turned red in an instant. Warner Croft glanced down at me and whispered, "I know I'm shy now." I moved my eyes downward, and reminded him in a breathy voice, "No, I pulled you in because you didn't zip it up properly." The moment he finished speaking, Warner Croft's easy-to-use smile suddenly stopped, and he quickly turned his back. The already cramped space seems to be much cramped. He moved his hand for a few seconds, and then turned back as if nothing happened, and when he met my gaze, he blew up a little bravado, and whispered, "TSK, are you still staring?" I quickly looked away. Listen to the movement outside, and it is about to go away. I had just landed on a boulder in my heart, and I was already thinking about how to leave this place with a 100-meter sprint. But at this time, someone suddenly knocked on the door. Bang bang. The strength is huge, and the voice is powerful. It's the cleaning uncle's angry voice. Strange. Is this door broken? Why can't you open it? Then he twisted the doorknob again. I was terrified, and I looked in stark contrast to the calm Warner Croft next to me. I tried to give him a, "Hey, you're trying to figure it out, look." Warner Croft, on the other hand, was still leisurely looking out the window, looking relaxed and lazy. Outside the door, a boy who didn't think it was a big deal to see the excitement said, "Uncle, you don't understand this? I guess there are classmates hiding in love inside. It's just that you can hide the indescribable things inside. I've seen the shadows of both of them, so come out." Bursts of laughter rang out. My eardrums are almost deafening, and I just hate going out today without wearing a hat and mask. Hey, young people nowadays, why can't they pay attention to the occasion? My hygiene tools are still in there. It's really going down. Saying that, Uncle Cleaning left. I'll come back in half an hour. I thought I would see the light of day soon. Unexpectedly, the group of boys didn't leave, and they all gathered outside, buzzing like flies. It's rare to be able to eat a hand of melons today. My phone is ready, and I didn't dare to come out. I had to look at the window again, and Warner Croft saw through my thoughts at a glance. Want to go through the window? It's on the 8th floor. Don't think about it. What then? seeing that the melon-eating crowd outside the door was about to come and pry the door. The next second, Warner Croft pressed my head and whispered to my ear, "If you want your face, cooperate with it." As soon as I nodded, Warner Croft shoved me into his coat. "That's right, it's a stopper." I immediately pressed my entire cheek against his pecs, a magical touch that I had never felt before. The moment the door opened, Warner Croft's impatient voice rang out, "What are you looking at? Haven't you seen anyone go to the toilet?" Warner Croft walked out with me wrapped in his coat, with the upper half of his body tucked away, and the tremor in his chest came to his face as he spoke. The people who eat melons were silent for a moment, and my vision was still dark. He could only hug his thin waist in fear, and the sound of his heartbeat was clear in his ears, and the voices of the people around him seemed to be coming from the glass cover. "Isn't this Warner Croft?" "It's Warner Croft." 2 or 3 boys in the crowd apparently recognized him. "Still shooting. No more shooting. No more shooting. We didn't bother you and your sister-in-law, Warner Croft." Warner Croft said coldly, "Excuse me, haha, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Why is my sister-in-law so shy? I haven't been able to hide it. Do you want us to know?" Warner Croft, fuck off. I hid my ears in his coat. I followed his footsteps until I reached a place where there were few people, and the footsteps of Warner Croft slowly stopped, and I thought that it should be almost there, but I didn't hear his instructions to let me out for a long time, and I didn't dare to move rashly while holding his waist. All right, well, come out." The boy spoke slowly. The faint scent of lime wafted away from the tip of my nose, and I quickly let go of him, only to see that his long black sleeves were pressed by my face, revealing a faint contour of his pecs. The touch on it is still on my cheeks, but I was still strong and calm. "And cut my hair, thank you just now, classmate." "It's okay, then I'll go first. Come back. It looks like we're not done yet." "Hey, what account?" He pointed to my phone. "Serious people who go into the men's restroom and see if you have captured anything in your photo album." I.T.S.K. while opening the phone album and said, "I said, why don't you believe me? I touched it by mistake just now, and I deleted it. I use my character to guarantee that I am a serious." However, the moment I opened the album, I was like a chicken with a cut throat, and my voice stopped abruptly. "I still haven't counted it out. The first few photos of my album are all good things, sent to me by my girlfriend on Valentine's Day, a few days ago." "Good sister, we don't have a man on Valentine's Day. I'll send you a few hot photos to get through this lonely day together." Then he sent me a few pictures of men with blood-pumping abs, and a few of them were still a little too downward. Naturally, I didn't hesitate to keep it at the time. At this moment, looking at my handsome photos of my abs, Warner Croft's eyes were a little more playful. "You, character assurance. Serious people." I was not confident. Yes, he whispered. "Serious people like you save photos of my circle of friends." My brain immediately ran out of a short circuit. "Isn't it? Such a coincidence. It's not appropriate for you to post this scale in your circle of friends, right? Instead of admitting mistakes, it is better to blame others. I didn't expect you to dare to post such unethical photos." As I spoke, I suddenly felt Warner Croft's face sink, and hurriedly changed his words. "Oh no, I mean you're quite happy to share. Haha." After speaking, I stammered and deleted these photos right under his nose. "But if you mind, I'll delete it. If I had known it was yours, I wouldn't have saved it." He stared at me for a moment, then suddenly chuckled, and his originally domineering eyes drooped into a soft arc. "I mean, you're a liar. Who the would post this kind of stuff on moments when they're idle? Where are you fishing here? SHHH. I tried to pull one back. "Oh yes. I don't believe it unless you prove it wasn't you." "Don't believe me?" He narrowed. "Then do you want to take a closer look at whether it's me?" My old face immediately turned red, and I bowed my head and said shyly, "Are you looking here? Isn't that good?" A playful smile tugged at his lips. I didn't know why I laughed, and I became more and more uneasy when I laughed. Reaching out and handing over the mobile phone that displayed his Weshit QR code, "I'm asking you to add me to Weshit and go back to look through it to see if I posted it." "What are you thinking?" Residual heat remains on the face. I'm in a good mood. On the way back to the dorm, the first thing I did was turn the Warner Croft circle of friends upside down. TSK. There's really nothing I want to see. Disappointment. Heartache. I flipped through the pages and found some photos of him with his friends in high school, smiling fearlessly, standing in the middle like a moon. Speaking of which, it's not the first time we've crossed paths. When I was in high school, their art and sports class was right next door to us. I sat by the window, and when I was tired of doing problems, I would often look out the window, and I would always see him and his classmates laughing and passing by. And on 2 occasions I saw him in the hallway rejecting a female classmate's love letters. I'm sorry, you're not my thing. During a break in my sophomore year of high school, I hurried to the office with a mountain-high stack of exercise books, bumped into Warner Croft, who had just come out of the classroom. The workbook fell to the ground, and I apologized again and again at the thought that this person was the feared head of the school. He squatted down to help me pick it up. I hit you. What do you apologize for? The next thing that was particularly dramatic was that when I reached for the same book with him, I grabbed his hand, and when I thought back about it, I thought that art really came from reality. But at that moment, my brain seemed to have been short-circuited, and my ears were buzzing with the heat of an electric current. The workbook was neatly folded by him, and it was as light as if it was weightless in his hand. Let's go, classmate, I'll help you get it. I followed him empty-handed. For this reason, the head teacher also interrogated me for a few minutes about my relationship with him, before letting me go back to the classroom. On the way back, Warner Croft and his brothers were in the hallway, when one of the smiling male voices of a hippie face raised his voice. Oh, our sister-in-law is here. Before I could tell who they were talking about, my sister-in-law, the boy was kicked by Warner Croft. You're here, sister-in-law, and your mother. You know your sister-in-law if you don't read it well every day. Warner Croft. Brother, I'm not good at studying, but my eyes are good. Just now you saw you helping your sister-in-law carry the exercise book, didn't you? Warner Croft smiled nonchalantly, but didn't retort. I'm happy to move. What's the matter? He's just helpful. Don't be kidding. I dropped the sentence and walked quickly into the classroom. 2 months later, because my dad changed jobs, I also changed schools. I just didn't expect it. I went to the same college as Warner Croft. I couldn't imagine that meeting again would be in such an embarrassing situation. It's all to blame on that damn mobile phone. It's a lot of harm. Just as he was thinking about it, Warner Croft's WeChat message popped up. Warner Croft, Class 21 Counting, Class 2, Reva Franklin, Class 21 Business English Class 1. I had just finished giving him a note when he suddenly patted me. A line of words popped up on the screen. Warner Croft patted you, and told you to show your abs. Embarrassing. I shouldn't have set this suffix for a moment of brain fever. I posted a, han scratching my head, emoji to ease the atmosphere, but he didn't know if it was a mistake or on purpose, so he slapped me a few times in a row, and the 3 lines, Warner Croft patted you, and said to show you your abs, appeared in the chat box. I had to post a han scratching my head emoji to ease the atmosphere. The next second, Warner Croft said, don't show it. TSK. Why is this man like this? Miserly. I replied with a punch and beat JPG meme. When I returned to the dormitory in the evening, my best friend Ella rushed to me with her mobile phone in her blood. Hey Reva Franklin, come and eat melon. Come and eat melon. It's super hot. What melon? Warner Croft. Warner Croft. You know, that's the super handsome man in the gym. He has a girlfriend. The 2 of them kiss fiercely. Does he have a girlfriend? It's embarrassing. I knew that he had a girlfriend, so I wouldn't have added him on WeChat. As soon as I wanted to ask her if she had any photos to see, she staggered to find other roommates, and went around promoting this fresh and hot melon. And the more I thought about today's events, the more embarrassed I felt. So, I quickly found the Warner Croft chat box. Warner Croft, if you have a girlfriend, in order to avoid misunderstanding, let's delete each other. Thank you again for this morning's events. Bye Tilda. After that, I clicked on his avatar, ready to delete his WeChat. At this critical moment, Warner Croft's voice call popped up. You wait first. Isn't it my girlfriend from somewhere? Did you assign it to me? If you don't make it clear, you can't delete me. But my friend just said you have a girlfriend, and you 2 are still kissing. If your friend says anything, you can ask her clearly. Lao Tzu has been single for 20 years, and his body is innocent. Why are you still in a hurry? Okay, I'll ask. I paused, called out to my girlfriend, Ella. You just said that Warner Croft of the HKSI has a girlfriend. Where did you hear that? Is it reliable? 100% reliable. Didn't you read the forum post I just shared with you? And someone took a picture of Warner Croft and his girlfriend kissing on the toilet. Everyone saw it. There were pictures, and so on. Lavatory, kisses. How does it feel so familiar? Saying that, Ella showed me her phone. Now, look at this picture. They came out of the bathroom. The girl hid in his coat, hugging his waist, and Warner Croft was still holding her with one hand. Me. Isn't this one of Warner Croft and me? It's just that I was hidden in his coat and not photographed, and his side face was photographed clearly. Kissing. Whoa. The boys in the HKSI are more exciting than ordinary people when they fall in love. On the other end of the Bluetooth headset, the boy suddenly coughed. I remembered that I was still on the phone with Warner Croft, and with a faintly hot rhythm on my face, I hurried out of the dorm room. Warner Croft spoke. Figured it out. Who is my girlfriend? Who is kissing me? It's I would really thank, but I didn't. With you in the bathroom. I paused as I spoke, and after making sure that there was no one else around, I lowered my voice. I didn't kiss you in the toilet. Our relationship is so pure. Why are the alumni so imaginative? There was a moment of silence on the other end of the line, and Warner Croft said, come out and talk. See how this matter is resolved. It can't be explained on the phone. Okay, where will we meet? I'm downstairs in your dorm. What? Pass it on, and the sports student will teleport. During the emergency, I was fully armed and wearing a mask and cap, and the people in the dormitory were fiercely analyzing who the girl was. Warner Croft was waiting for me in the shade. He sat on a stone bench, his elbows resting on his knees casually, and when he saw me, he looked up and smiled at the end of his long narrow eyes. You need to be so fully armed. Those who don't know think we're trading illegally. It's a special time. I don't want to be noticeable. All right, let's go. Hey, where are you going? Before I could react, he pulled his sleeve and slipped into the narrow gap between the dormitory buildings. Aren't you afraid of being seen? Is this place hidden enough? Enough. It's too hidden. It's hard not to be reminiscent of an awkward moment in a toilet cubicle. Warner Croft, however, seemed to have that, never embarrassed, and he lit up the screen of his phone and handed it to me. Look at this. Above is a post on the campus forum, which is a poll launched by alumni 3 hours ago. Quiz without prizes. Do you think the girl who kissed Warner Croft in the toilet was his girlfriend or girlfriend? 70% of the people voted for P friends. Girlfriends only 30%. I'm blindsided. What the hell? Do you mean friends? Then I'll vote for this too. It's not. What does that mean? Warner Croft glanced away for a moment, and pressed his dark eyelashes down. What do you mean? Friend, I don't need to explain any further. My fingertips paused, and the blood rushed to my cheeks at this moment. What? It's not okay at all. Isn't there no other option? It's a kiss and a friend. How can I do such a thing as a law-abiding and dedicated citizen? Didn't you say he was single before? And when he suddenly kissed a girl in the toilet, he covered her face. Obviously this girl is unsightly. P. Yawashi hammered. Yes, you're all talking about girlfriends. But do you understand the sports academy? Maybe it's a girlfriend. I remember that Warner Croft's review is pretty good, and he won't agree to it casually when a girl adds him on Weshit. I don't believe it. I still don't believe it. The HKSI has 800 girlfriends per capita. I've read all this nonsense of speculation. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. I was the only one who said that I would be a clear and stupid college student. Warner Croft looked innocent. What to do? I have kept my innocence for 20 years. 3 months and 20 hours, and today I am suddenly gone. Can you be more detailed? After thinking for a moment, otherwise, you can tell them that I'm your girlfriend first. Of course, I'm definitely not trying to take advantage of you. I'm thinking, they misunderstand you like this. It's not good for your reputation, is it? I've finished this long sentence. He was silent for a long time. You are my girlfriend. I quickly added, yes, and then we'll break up in 3 months. Anyway, it's just a formality. don't you say? The most important thing now is to save your reputation, and it doesn't matter if I don't get photographed. He didn't hesitate any longer and nodded. Okay, I'll listen to you. I'll pick you up downstairs in the dormitory tomorrow, he replied. What would you like for breakfast? While he was talking, a young couple suddenly came. I was about to go out, but the next second Warner Croft grabbed my waist, pressed me into his arms, and whispered to my hair, "Run, practice ahead." I slowly raised my hand and put it on his waist. It was like holding a piece of driftwood in the dark, and leaving like a tide of anxiety and boredom caused by the discussion of this matter. Then hold it for a while. Back in the dormitory, Ella rushed over excitedly with her phone again. "Reva Franklin, you're missing it again. Warner Croft has officially announced." Someone put a screenshot of the moments he just posted on the forum. I immediately clicked on the Warner Croft moments. Sure enough, he posted a circle of friends that was officially announced on the surface but was actually clarified, with a picture of my back. It's a girlfriend and nothing else. Don't speculate anymore. My brother finally found a girlfriend. This kind of thing is also necessary to discuss. I quietly gave him a thumbs up. Woo woo. There are so many handsome sports students in this world. What if my sisters and I play one by one? Ella hugged me and was heartbroken. Suddenly, she paused as if she had smelled something. "You have the smell of his perfume on you. It is the sin of my nose." No, right. I hugged it for 3 minutes. How could it be so exaggerated? She frowned and said, "No, I really think you smell of a man." Another roommate suddenly said, "Oh, don't you think the person in this picture is familiar? How does it feel like we're Reva Franklin?" Yes, it's a bit like that. With that, several pairs of eyes stared at me in unison, scanning back and forth between me and the phone screen. I confessed, "Family, it's really me. Good fellow, it's really you." When I brushed it that day, I thought the girl's clothes were very familiar, but I thought that you couldn't fight him, so I didn't ask you. Screams rang out from the dormitory. "Reva Franklin, you're not so funny. Don't tell us about such a big thing. So you were the one who kissed him in the toilet that day? Help, I can't imagine you two have such a good time. It's all people in a dormitory." I told them the truth, so we're all forced to do it. However, when I explained to them that it was an oolong, my roommate's eyes lit up. "Isn't this the kind of love that goes both ways?" How did it go both ways? At first, Warner Croft made you hide in his chest muscles for the sake of your innocence, and didn't let you show your face. Now you're his girlfriend for 3 months for his innocence. Isn't this a two-way street? The rest of the roommates nodded in response. Yes, go both ways. A match made in heaven. I have approved this family business. Don't forget go fugui. When you see other handsome guys in your boyfriend's sports academy in the future, don't forget to match your sisters with a few bridges. Okay, regardless of 3/7/21. It should be talked about first. The next morning, I thought Warner Croft was just talking about coming to pick me up. I didn't expect him to really come. With a height of 1 meter and 8 or 9, the black t-shirt stretches out a good-looking shoulder line, making him stand out from the crowd among the other 2 or 3 boys who are waiting for his girlfriend. Isn't that Warner Croft? Is he here to pick up his girlfriend too? It's so handsome. Help! I looked around him and walked over to him, where Warner Croft smiled and handed me his breakfast. "Breakfast, thank you. It's the sandwich and lat I said I wanted to eat yesterday." Don't say thank you. It's easy to show your stuff. Then what to say? You teach me. Don't say anything. After he finished speaking, he naturally took me and lowered his head, and kissed me on the cheek. Just like me. Have you really kept your innocence for 20 years? Why am I so unbelieving? The last 2 sessions of the afternoon were Marxist-Leninist lessons. Warner Croft is the same teacher I chose. I've noticed him before. He always sits in the last row with his brothers, and someone has already taken his place. Warner Croft, sister-in-law, come here, come here. A muscular man in a yellow vest beckoned to us. My sister-in-law can just call me Henry. Okay Henry, look at the muscles in his arms up close. It's quite impactful. I casually sighed. Henry, you're pretty good at this muscle. That's it. I didn't expect my sister-in-law to be good-looking, and quite discerning, said Henry, who proudly raised his arm and stretched it, and the undulating muscles immediately doubled. The next second, My eyes were covered. Warner Croft spun me 180 degrees. Look, look. What do you see? When your boyfriend doesn't exist. Right. No. I just think he's got a lot of muscles. Just look at it. Henry had already put away his arms, and laughed harmlessly. Sister-in-law, you don't know. Warner Croft's muscles are bigger, and more impactful. I glanced at Warner Croft and muttered, I don't believe it. I haven't seen it. I also remembered that Warner Croft accidentally patted my Weshit profile picture that day, and replied to me with the sentence, don't show it, which was so stingy that I had to stimulate him. Warner Croft saw through my intentions and smirked at me. Well, deliberately provoke me. Right. It's useless. I'm still not going to show you. I'm not a random man. Bad man. Stealing chickens is embarrassing. And usually at this time, shouldn't boys say things like, I don't believe it? Then I'll let you see it. But Warner Croft wasn't. He didn't play at all. Seems to have a beautiful male virtue that doesn't match his appearance. Maybe it's for his future real girlfriend. But thinking of this, I suddenly had a heart attack for 2 seconds, and said angrily, there's a lot of Douyin. I'm still worried about watching it. There was a short chuckle from Warner Croft. I remember when you were in high school. Weren't you pretty good? How did you become so now? I blew up. He even remembers me when I was in high school. The lights were a little dizzy, and I turned my head to meet his smiling eyes. Do you know me? Yes. No. One in the 2nd grade. You're. He leaned into my ear and paused. Big celebrity. You're a big celebrity. No. Aren't you in the class next to me? My memory is not that bad. It turned out that he still had an impression of me. I couldn't help but feel sweet ripples in my heart. Tell me, who broke you? I killed him. Warner Croft and I pretended to be pretty real. In the morning, I held hands and went to the cafeteria to eat. Ate together at noon. And in the evening I took Water to watch him play ball. Brought him water, but never kissed him. During the physical test, I mentioned it to him, but he said that he wanted to accompany me. As a result, I twisted my foot in the long jump. The school doctor took the ice pack, and handed it over directly when he saw him. Boy, help your girlfriend get some ice. He half crouched in front of me. I said awkwardly, you give me what I can. The next second, he took off my shoes, and made me step on his knee. Don't be pushy, he said with a half-playful smile, as he grabbed my ankle with his slender hand, and pressed the ice pack with his other. What's embarrassing with your boyfriend? Damn it, I'm going to fall into it like this. 3 months passed in a flash. To be honest, the days of having a boyfriend are quite happy. It's been exactly 3 months, and it's my birthday. It happened to be such an awkward time period, and I said that as soon as the 3 months arrived, the two of us would automatically break up. On second thought, I still didn't call Warner Croft. Originally, we weren't really a couple, so didn't I ask him for a gift on purpose, or didn't let him break the bank. Anyway, I was about to say goodbye. In KTV with my roommates, I inexplicably wanted to sing some bitter love songs. I was addicted to my beautiful singing voice, and I sang it so heartbreakingly. As a result, I turned around. The whole thing is embarrassing. I found that Warner Croft didn't know when he came. He sat on the couch and looked at me calmly. His features were more three-dimensional due to the overhead lamp, and he looked at me with an obscure expression. I couldn't be calmer anymore. Warner Croft opened a can of beer with one hand, tilted his head, and drank, but his eyes never took off me, so he could only force his mind to finish singing, The Night I Miss You. He cleared his throat and didn't start speaking. My roommate scrambled to speak. This song was sung to you by Reva Franklin, and she is too embarrassed to tell you directly, so she can only express it through her singing, and we still have some things, so I won't disturb the world of the two of you. I have nothing to say. Go back to the dorm and settle accounts with them. Ella and the others finished speaking, and then slipped away under the pretext that there was something to grease the soles of their feet. He tilted his head and pulled out a nice line in his Adam's apple. The eye tails, which are usually raised upwards, were now drooping, and the yaw line was stretched into a strong line, and I realized that Warner Croft seemed to be angry. Why didn't you tell me about your birthday? And I didn't know until your friend informed me. What do you mean? I can't know. Still miss my night. Where did you miss me? Heh. As he spoke, his eyes turned aggrieved. Where did you put my boyfriend? I pursed my lips and reminded him. Warner Croft, you won't forget what we said 3 months ago, right? What did you say? Didn't we make an appointment then? And we broke up 3 months later. Whoever made an appointment with you? That's your one-sided idea. If I don't agree, then don't count. Saying that, he didn't give me time to react. He took my wrist and gently pulled forward, and I fell into his arms, and his waist was tied to him. Reva Franklin, he called me. His voice was very hoarse. Can we do it for real? Fake drama is really done. He said he wanted to do it for real. The sound of my heartbeat was deafening, and before my brain could react, I could already hear my own involuntary voice. Yes. He took my hand and put it on his heart. Do I like you or not? Can't you feel it these days? His heartbeat was beating vigorously under my palm. Reva Franklin, will you kiss? Before I could say yes, he grabbed my chin and kissed me. From the beginning of the shallow taste, to the slow offensive, the residual aftertaste of wheat juice wrapped around the tip of my tongue. The oxygen in my chest was plundered by him, and I felt dizzy as if I was drunk. It feels good to kiss you. I covered my face shyly. You kiss it, don't make a speech. Okay, I don't. He chuckled and kissed my shoulder on the shoulder with his warm palm. After a long time, he finally stopped. Pull me up from the couch. Take out a box from the back of the couch. It's a birthday present. Sure you. When I opened it, it was a pair of expensive shoes. Exactly the same style as the one he was wearing, which were couple's shoes. How do you know my shoe size? You twisted your foot that day, and I stole your size and memorized it. After he finished speaking, he squatted down and helped me take off the canvas shoes on my feet, then helped me put on my new shoes and tie my shoes. He looks like he doesn't care about anything, but his heart is actually quite fine. Okay wife, call someone else's wife now. I was stingy before, and I didn't show my abs. I began to settle accounts with him, and said sourly, I thought you were going to keep it for other women. Warner Croft, do you know why I didn't show it to you? Why? I'm not afraid that you're just interested in my figure. I'm afraid that after you see it, you'll lose interest in me, as a person. Oh, I'm not that kind of person, he said. No, I'm conservative. I was about to praise him, and he said, look at it and look at the bed. You keep your head. In the evening, when I returned to the dormitory, when my roommate saw me, he was disappointed. You're back. I thought you were going to spend the night outside. Please, how is that possible? Am I that kind of person? After pretending to play with him, when I heard his brother call me sister-in-law again, I finally accepted the title with my head held high, and compared with before, he is more clingy. The club where the roommate was there held a popular science lecture. She said very few people signed up. Please, Reva Franklin, your boyfriend knows a lot of people. Can you bring a few people to help me support the scene? I told Warner Croft about it. Are you free at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning? My roommate has a lecture. Do you have time to listen to it with your friends? Without saying a word, he directly brought a dozen brothers to the scene, and when he came in one by one, he said, Sister-in-law, we are here to cheer you on. For a while, the lecture scene, which had been sparsely populated, suddenly became lively, and I was dazzled by it, and Warner Croft pressed my head on him, and the vinegar essence was on the line. What to see? What to see? I'm not enough for you to see. The people who came were all his brothers from the gymnasium. The roommate was so happy that he couldn't stop talking. Warner Croft and I were specifically seated in the front row in the C seat. As a result, when the lecturer opened the PPT, he found that this lecture turned out to be a popular science lecture on gender knowledge for college students. Warner Croft, who had slept in Marxist-Leninist class, sat upright and said to me, Don't desert, listen carefully. One of them is the correct way to wear a condom. The prop prepared by the presenter on stage was a banana, and I quietly glanced at Warner Croft next to me, and saw that he was like a torch. Who wouldn't know this? Do you still need to teach? Teacher, one of the boys spoke up without shame. Several people began to laugh. We've been meeting for a long time, ha 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 ha. As he spoke, a boy next to him patted Warner Croft. Isn't that Warner Croft? Warner Croft pushed him away mercilessly. Get out of the way. Don't damage my reputation. The lecture teacher seems to have seen similar winds and waves, and his face still does not change in the face of the excited students in the audience. Using it does not mean that it is used correctly. This is just a popular science, and students don't need to be too excited. The restless boys were quiet. After the lecture, I looked at Warner Croft and stopped talking. He noticed my gaze and whispered, "Don't listen to him, baby. I haven't used that thing." I looked away unnaturally. "Then you can listen now." He curled his lips and said, "Okay, I'll listen to it." Wednesday was the only day I had evening classes, and I had to go up until 9 p.m. Warner Croft was still telling me on Weshit at 6:30 that he was playing basketball. However, when I arrived at the classroom at 6:55, I found him in the last row, and it was clear that this was not his class. A girl walked up to me and said, "Classmate, is there anyone next to you?" He rolled his eyes. "I'm sorry, there's someone." "All right then. Then, can you add a Weshit? My girlfriend is behind you. Why don't you ask her if she agrees?" The girl turned her head in a panic, and I smiled. "Hi beauty Tilda." Warner Croft tilted his head, made eye contact with me, and reached out. "It's still grinding. Hurry up and sit down. Aren't you still playing basketball at 6:30? Have you eaten? Eat it, for just a little bit of time. Then you must not have taken a shower." He gently pressed me against his collarbone. "Do you smell and see I've washed it?" I smelled a nice lime scent. "Okay, that's fast," he said. "It's not just a matter of 2 or 3 minutes to take a shower. 2 or 3 minutes, playing basketball and sweating so much. Just 2 or 3 minutes to wash up." I glanced at him in amazement. Warner Croft's eyes darkened, and he whispered close to me, "If I can't wash it, can you wash it for me again later?" My ears are hot. It's the same mouth. How can he spit out so many red-faced words with this mouth? And I am not to be outdone. "Okay, I'll help you. Make sure to wash it cleaner than yourself." "Okay," you said. Well, I said that. Anyway, I couldn't really go to the boys' dormitory to bathe him, and I was quick to talk about it. After class, we slipped to the food street at the entrance of the campus, bought a delicious pot helmet, held his hand, and walked slowly. As I walked, I realized that it was not the way back to school, but stopped in front of a luxury hotel. "What are we doing here? Aren't we going back?" "What are you going to do when you go back?" Someone just said they wanted to help me. I still remember it. What else can I think? It's not that I'm afraid you'll dislike me. However, when I unlocked the hotel key card with a bang, I realized that there was a price to be paid for it. Just stepped in. His waist was hugged by one hand from behind, and my legs were suddenly suspended in the air, and my heart tightened. I could hear the door slam and my back against the door. "Warner Croft, can I take back what I just said?" The words spoken, the water spilled. "It's late." After saying that, he hugged me and lifted me up. He carried me from the hallway to the bathroom. The light was ambiguous. He took off his shirt, and his figure was even more impactful than I imagined. "Where haven't you washed? Tell me." He pinched my hot cheek. Okay, I won't scare you." He slammed his head on my shoulder and laughed at me. "Little bag." He carried me out and laid me on the soft bed. "Actually, I've been very tired from training lately, and the dormitory bed is too hard, so I've been looking for a chance to get some sleep. I believe you're a ghost. You're a very bad person." With that, I rolled to the corner of the bed. "I really just want to sleep with you in my arms. Tomorrow is Saturday anyway." He reached out and easily scooped me up to him, breathing against my collarbone. I'm not used to being held to sleep, tossing and turning in his arms. "I see you're quite energetic, so it's better to." I immediately stopped moving, put my arms around his waist, and said, "Sleep." Unconsciously, I fell asleep in his arms. I vaguely heard him whispering in my ear, "If you hadn't transferred schools, I would have chased you a long time ago." The incident of roommates harming others. Take a walk around the place de culture times with Warner Croft. Who carries my bag? Warner Croft. Help me find my tissues. Okay. Warner Croft opened my bag and started rummaging. As I flipped through it, I suddenly heard no movement on his side. "What's wrong?" I turned my head to look. He was frowning and pulling out a set of boxes from my bag. I was in good spirits. "Reva Franklin, what's this?" Warner Croft's eyes were full of surprise. "Okay, you're ready to this." But in the next second, his face sank. "No, what's the matter? Why did you use one more?" At that moment, I felt the murderous aura of the coming storm. Wait, don't get excited. I can explain. Do you remember the last time we listened to the lecture? My roommate said that they bought it for the lecture last time, and they used one, and then she had to say that she wanted to give this to me, and I put it in my bag, and forgot about it. Only then did he feel relieved. Then you promise me one thing. After saying that, he whispered in my ear, do as I say. The long wait passed. As if someone was holding a gun to my head, I spoke slowly. If you want to use it, you can only use it with Warner Croft. What? I didn't hear clearly. Roll. The end.